Brought to you by Gamezy. Win up to rupees 5 crores every day. Download the app now.
By all accounts, Yuzvendra Chahal is one of the most fun-loving, funny and jolly guys in Indian cricket. Indeed, if anyone has ever followed his exploits across social media, or even the videos that he posts after matches which he's on Chahal TV, you know that the guy loves having a laugh and is genuinely one of the more funny guys, really good guys of Indian cricket. Which makes it all the more surprising that Chahal, who's been around for a number of years now, has had to face what should be quite frankly described as appalling, disturbing, harassing behavior from teammates. Chahal, who currently plays for the Rajasthan Royals, recently opened up about an incident that took place many years ago, back when he was still a young player and when he was playing for the Mumbai Indians. And Chahal describes the story as one where he, if luck actually did not go his way, could have ended up dead or worse. In fact, when he was speaking on a video that was posted on Rajasthan Royals Twitter, he said, and I quote, that back in 2013, that this is back when he was part of Mumbai Indians, they were playing a match in Bangalore, and after the match, there was a get-together. And once the get-together was over, there was a player who was very drunk, and it is worth noting that Chahal did not, in fact, name the player, but he did say that the player was very drunk, called him outside to the balcony, and then just hung him out from the balcony. Now, obviously, we know that hazing and general laughs and jokes is something that does indeed take place among sports teams and dressing rooms, but this does seem a little far. And in fact, as Chahal describes it later on, it got much more worrisome for him. As he says, I had my arms around his neck, and that if I had lost my grip, we were on the 15th floor. He could have very easily ended up dead if people had not come to his help at that very particular point in time. And in fact, as he describes it in that video, he almost ended up, in fact, did end up fainting and had to be given water to be at least revived. Such was the level of fear that went through his body. And he did end that by saying that he realized how responsible we need to be, we meaning being sports people. Had there been a small mistake, I would have fallen down. Now, it takes a lot of courage to talk about such experiences happening. So it is indeed a wonderful thing to see that Yuzvendra Chahal, who's probably one of the nicest guys in Indian cricket, has opened up about the fact that he suffered such behavior. But interestingly, this is not even the first time this year or in recent memory that he has opened up on having to go through such harrowing behavior. Because if you remember, he had also spoken on a podcast of his former IPL team, the Royal Challengers Bangalore, about a particular incident, again from his days in the Mumbai Indians, which was in many aspects even worse. As he said that it happened in 2011, the player involved in this case was former Australian international Andrew Symonds, who, in the words of Chahal, had a lot of quote-unquote fruit juice. And he says, I don't know what he was thinking, but he and James Franklin got together and tied his hands and legs. What's more, he describes it that when the incident was happening, Chahal was asking them, no, please don't do this, just let me go. And both players just consistently said, no, you have to get yourself out of here. But amazing as it sounds, this wasn't even the worst part of this entire ordeal. Because as he says, they taped my mouth and forgot about me completely. In the morning, someone came and asked me since when I had been there, and I said, I've been here the whole night. Now, again, to give you guys some context, he was there the whole night with his hands and legs tied, tape put on his mouth, and he had no idea what to do because, well, obviously. And in the morning, the only reason that he was actually gotten out of that precarious situation was because someone in the cleaning staff actually came and got him out there, and they were asking him that, what were you doing there? He's saying, well, what else could I have done? And it really does paint a harrowing picture about how dressing room banter can be. And as I said before, big props to Chahal for actually speaking up about this, because this is something that, unfortunately or otherwise, has become a common part of the whole locker room dynamic in any team sport. Generally speaking, locker rooms have always been seen as this place of unity, as a place where teammates come together and that everything that happens in the locker room stays in the locker room. However, what that has inadvertently or otherwise led to is a culture where there is no accountability for any kind of wrongdoing, hazing, bullying, mental harassment that takes place, especially with players who are younger, or even players who may or may not have fallen out of favor with certain sects within the locker room. It is a massive thing that Chahal, of all people, who's a senior player, has represented India for many years, is a very well-known player in cricketing circles, has come out and spoken about this, because if it is happening at locker room levels, be it in IPL cricket, be it in international cricket, it would be happening lower down the totem pole as well. It is very possible that such behavior would be impacting the mental health of players, not just from, as I said, the higher levels of the sport, but also it could be in domestic levels, in school or college levels, or even just in your regular clubs. Such behavior might very well be commonplace, but it being commonplace does not make it okay. The fact that Chahal has spoken up about it means that there will most likely be others who feel brave enough to share their stories and let it be known that what is happening in locker rooms, especially when it pertains to behavior like this, is absolutely not okay. And it says a lot that it is 2022 and it is only now that Chahal is comfortable talking about incidents that happened, as we said. One was in 2011, one was in 2013. These are two incidents that would have no doubt shaped his thinking or his thought process, his mental strength very much as a young player, but it is still not something that players of any level really should be going through this, because sport might be a life and death sort of a situation for many, but at the end of the day, there's no place, not just in sport, for such behavior. There's also no place in society for such behavior. And the fact that someone like Chahal, as I mentioned, has spoken up on this, would doubtless empower many others to come ahead, share their stories, and would also break down this normalization that has been built around what is clearly very toxic behavior. Now, thank you so much for joining us in this particular video. If you like what it is that we do, don't forget to like the video, comment on it, share it with your friends, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We have a lot of content coming your way on a very daily basis, not just from the world of cricket and the IPL, but sports around the world as well. So do join us as we continue to cover the best of sports. And as I said, thank you very much. We'll see you soon.